Hey, what's up everybody? Clifton here with CliftonWP. Welcome back to the channel. In this tutorial, we're going to be exploring the Kadence color palette. Now, whether you have the free version of Kadence or you have the pro version of Kadence, you can use the color palette to basically style your website. And you can add your brand colors to it so that your website looks more like your brand. Now, if you are not familiar with how to use it in such a way that it presents itself beautifully, or you don't know what areas to put what colors in, after this tutorial, you will know how to do that and know how to do it very well. So if you guys are ready for this tutorial, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so for those of you that like to follow along, if you'd like to get to this point in the tutorial, all I have done is I have a fresh install of WordPress. And then if we go back to the dashboard here, what I've done is I've gone to the appearance and themes, and I've installed the Kadence theme. Right, to get to the Kadence theme, just click on add new and you can do a search for Kadence. And when you do that search, you'll be presented with this theme. Click on install and activate so that you can have that theme activated. The other thing that I've done in terms of plugins is if we take a look at my installed plugins, I have the Kadence blocks plugin and this SiteGround optimizer and the security plugin and this Vivid. These are just plugins that were already in this install. So you don't necessarily have to have these. You just have to have the Kadence blocks and the Kadence theme, and then you are good to go. All right, so now let's go to the front end of the website. When you go to the front end of the website, you can see here we have the blog posts showing up as the front page. So let's go ahead and change that here by going and creating a new page, and we'll call this color tutorial or color palette tutorial. And what I want to do here is I just want to create a few items, a few blocks, and just a simple layout, okay, so that we can basically test out our colors, our color palette. Now, the first thing that we need to do here is set up our page. So we're going to go to the page settings. I'm going to disable the page title. I'm going to set the page layout to full width, and the content style will be unboxed, and the content vertical padding will be disabled. So once I've done that, I now have full use of the page. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And then next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a few sections here so that we can utilize these sections. And I'm going to use the default color palette that Kadence has. Now, before I do that, let me show you where you can access your color palette. So if we go back out to the front end of the website right here, click on Customize. And then when you do that, go to General, and you'll see right here where it says colors. If you click on this, it'll show you the current color palette that we have. Now, Kadence allows you to have up to 3 different palettes for your site, and each color here controls one thing on the website, okay, or one area of the website. There's also additional colors that you can select from if you want to change this. So I can change this to, let's say I selected that. You can see here that all these elements have now changed color. I can select this green motif right here, and that's also changed. And here's a orange scheme, and you can see that in certain areas there are these subtle changes that have happened. So what I want to do before we create our own page is I want to explain what each color does. Okay, so when you first come in here, I'm gonna go ahead and reset this. Okay, so when you first install Kadence, you have this default blue color scheme, and each one of these is assigned by default to different areas of the site so that you have a uniform, kind of nice, streamlined website. So the very first color that you come across, this is your accent color. Okay, so this is the color that's actually used the least on the website. These could be colors for your buttons, they could be colors for your links, right? This is used the least. The second option here is the accent alternative. So the alternative accent color. This color is actually used in hover. So it could be the hover color for your button or the hover color for your link, okay? The next color that you have, so the third one, this is your strongest text. Typically, this is your heading, right? So these are headings right here. So your heading colors will be whatever this color is. In this case, this is a black or a dark color, right? So this is your strongest text. You'll want to assign that to your strongest text. And then the next one here is what we call your strong text. Now the strong text is actually the main text of the site. So this text right here, that's going to be this fourth color right here. Okay. The fifth color is your medium text. Okay. So another place where you might see this being used are like the borders of your website, for instance. So if you have something that has a border, you may be using this right here to show that border. Okay. The sixth one is subtle text, and this could also be like a hover for those borders, right? So you would be using this for your what we call subtle text or just subtle showings here. Okay. The last 3 of the 9 colors that are available are really dedicated to backgrounds. And by backgrounds, it actually means any background, right? So if we look at this header, it has a white background. If we look at this this box right here, this content box, it has a white background. And if we look at the general site, it's got this bluish background. So these here you want to dedicate to your backgrounds when you have a lighter colored site. You can also inverse this when you have a darker color site. So it's entirely up to you. Okay, so this blue, this subtle background here, you can see that this is being used here. And this one is also being used, but it's used probably within the pages. So if I were to click to go through to this right here, you can see in here, this is probably being used or maybe used in the page header. And then right here, this white color or off-white color is what's used for your content area. Okay. So now you know what each of these represents. Now, here's the thing. You can actually install Kadence and build a full website without using any of these colors. These are literally just suggestions. So you can have as many colors as you want in here, but you do not have to use these colors if you don't want to. But it is better to use it because that way when you make global changes, right, you can see right here, so you can make a global change and have that change apply across your website, which will save you a lot of time. All right, so that's how the color palette works. And so that's why I can come in here and I can go like in a dark mode, for instance, right, a dark purple mode right here, or this other dark mode if I want to. And that's because you notice everything is assigned accordingly, right? You can see right here where we have the background colors are inverted, so now the backgrounds are dark, and the writing, right, these 4 that usually address writing, now these colors are light colored. Okay, and then our buttons and links are associated with these first 2 accent colors right here. Okay, so now that we understand how this works, what I want to show you how to do is how do you change this. Okay, so how do you make the colors your own colors? Okay, so what if you don't want to use any of these? There's a ton of them here, but what if you don't want to? What if you want to use your own custom colors? Okay, well, the first thing you're going to need to learn how to do is how to create your own color palette, and then the second thing is you're going to have to learn how to apply it in Kadence so that it applies across the board on your website, and that's what we're going to learn next. Okay, so let's reset this back to what it was. Let's go here, back to palette 1. I'm going to reset this and publish. All right, so now what we're going to do now is we're going to create our own color palette page, right? So here's our page right here. I'm going to go ahead and click that link, and we have this fresh page where we're going to add our blocks to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on edit, and what we're just going to do here is just going to create a rudimentary page layout. So this isn't anything meant to be professional, but it will allow me to teach you how to attach the colors to the relevant areas so that it makes the changes throughout the website. So let's go ahead and do that now. So the first block that I'm going to select here, you can just go ahead and click on the plus sign to open up all the Gutenberg blocks. And we're going to be using the Kadence blocks of Gutenberg here. So I'm going to click on the row layout. I'm going to take a full column, and then I'm going to add another row layout. And this time we're going to make this 2 columns. Then I'm going to go to the outermost row. So just click on the list view here, select the outer row layout that you created. And then we're going to go here to the block settings. And from here, we're going to set this to be the same width as the inner content of the website, which is about 1290 pixels. Okay, so now everything's kind of centered in and boxed in like this. This is exactly how we want it. The next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to start adding some blocks to these columns. So the first one that I want to add is an advanced heading. So just click on the plus sign, select advanced heading. If you don't see it, you can always click on browse all, which will open up the rest of the blocks, and then you can select it from the options here. Okay, so advanced heading. And we're just going to put just a simple heading here. Just say learn how to use the Kadence color palette. Okay. And then let's add some additional items here. So let's go ahead and add some lorem ipsum text. I'm just going to grab some from here. And we're going to click on the plus sign again. I want the advanced heading again. But this time I'm going to change this to be a paragraph. And I'm just going to paste that text in. All right, so now we have our top heading here, and then we have some text. And then let's go ahead and add a button. So let's click on the plus sign, look for the advanced button. It's going to bring that in here. We're going to go ahead and align that to the left. And we're going to say right here, select your colors. Okay, so it's just a button that we're going to use to demonstrate the using the palette on the button. Okay, so now that everything looks good, what I want to do here actually with this button is I'm going to select it, and if you go over here to the right, okay, where it says default button inherit styles default, I'm going to select theme, and you'll see it automatically color the button for me according to the color palette that we have. Okay, so that's already set up for me. Then let's just add an image here just to make this look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go here, click on advanced gallery. I have some images that I've already uploaded, so let's just add this lovely creature right there, and I'm going to make this a one column. Go to image style, and let's go ahead and add a border radius to make this look a little bit more pleasant. So I'm going to add a border radius of 12. All right, then the next thing I want to do is within this row right here, I'm just going to go ahead and center this. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is make this look as presentable as possible so that when we're showing the way the color palette is applied, then it actually shows up very well. So we've already created our first row, okay, and this looks pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and update my changes here. Now, one thing I want to show you when it comes to these, to the color palette, for instance, one thing I want to show you is, let's say, for instance, I select this, learn how to use the Kadence color palette text, this heading. If I go over here to the right, you can see that the header colors and the background colors are blank, right? So, but it is pulling a black color. So just by default, it's using my color palette unless I tell it otherwise. If I click here, you'll notice that the color palette is available in all the color pickers that I select for any item, right? And that will allow me to manually be able to assign a different color if I want, or the same one. So if I wanted this to be blue, I could just go ahead and click that. And now, whoops, that's the background. Let's go ahead and refresh. Let's reset that. I want the color. If I set that to be blue, so now it's blue. And now it is attached to this color, right? So if I go to the global color and change the global color there, then this will change color over there as well. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But for now, let's go ahead and reset this. Just keep it just how it is by default. What I do want to do, though, is I want to show you one other thing that a lot of people kind of miss out on. So if you notice, when we click on here and we look at our color palette, and if you go back in the video and you'll see when I was talking about the color palette, you'll notice that we have these 9 colors, but it doesn't look like there's an ability to add any additional colors. Okay, so what if I have other brand colors that I want to include? What if I have an off color that I notice that I'm using a lot? Well, a way to address that is, if you have the Kadence blocks installed, and that's what you're using, you can actually go up here. See where you have the K here for Kadence icon? This is the block controls. So you can select those block controls, and when you select that, one of the options is the color palette. The second option are the block defaults. But really, the color palette is the one you're looking for. And this allows you to add an unlimited amount of colors. Okay, now it is a Kadence blocks control, so you do have to have the Kadence blocks installed. But it will allow you to add an unlimited amount of colors. So what if I wanted, instead of just 9 colors, I actually want 10 colors. And let's say one of those colors is a bright orange. So I'm going to go ahead and click on add color. I'm going to select the color that was added. So you see, when I clicked add color, it added one color here by default. This is sort of a gray color. I'm going to click on that color, and now I can change this color to whatever I want. Okay, so let's say I wanted it to be a bright orange, or maybe I want it to be sort of like a fuchsia color thing there. Okay, there it is. So now that I've selected that, I can then name it. So I'm going to call this fuchsia. Okay, I'm going to name the color. And now that is done, right? So now I have this color, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and update this. Okay, and then there's an option here where he says, you know, you can only use the colors that the color palette that I select, right? But I don't want to do that. I'm just going to leave that as it is, update, and then I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, so let's just go ahead and build out the rest of this page really quickly. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to add some more sections so that we have something to be able to color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a row layout down here. It's going to be one column row. And in this row, we're going to add another row layout. And on the outermost row here, what we want to do is we want to set this to be boxed in. So the content max width is going to match the theme. And then inside of here, I'm going to add an advanced heading. Okay, and we're just going to say, actually, why don't we just go ahead and actually copy a heading, because we're just doing this for the color. So this isn't like a real design. So I'm just going to copy this, come back down here where we just were, which is here. Click in there, paragraph, and paste. All right, I'm going to center this. And then I want some dummy text. So I'm going to grab some dummy text from the loremipsum.com. And we're going to go back to our site here and hit enter. And we're going to paste that dummy text in here. And I'm going to center that right there, just like that. And as a matter of fact, I want to transform this into a heading and use the paragraph setting for Kadence blocks. Kadence block just has a better paragraph. It gives us more options. Okay, great. So then the next thing that I want to do here is that I want to add a 3-column row. So row layout, we want 3 columns, and then inside of each column, I'm going to add an info box. Okay. Okay, next I'm going to add another section here. So let's do another row layout. Set up the row layout on the inside. We're going to go with 2 columns. And I'm going to go ahead and set up this outside column. Structure settings and the content max width inherit from theme so that it's boxed in again. And then on this one, we're going to do sort of an opposite of that one, right? So matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this copy, come here and paste. And then I'm just going to change the image. Just grab this image here. And then I'm going to grab all this stuff and I'm going to paste that in here. All right, and then we'll set this up so that everything is aligned to the middle. And now that looks good. I just want to create a decent enough page. It doesn't have to be perfect because all we're doing here is we're just showing the color. So let's add a little bit of padding. All right, great. So and now let's, just for fun, we're going to add a frequently asked questions section here. So I'm going to go to the design library. I'm just going to grab one of these accordions right there. There we go. There we go. We have the frequently asked questions. And I'm going to grab this here. I'm just going to copy this text. There we go. And we'll just move it to the top. Okay. And let's just call this FAQs. All right. So now that looks really good. The other thing is I want to make sure that everything looks correct on the front end so that when we're looking at this and changing the colors, everything is sort of following along. All right. So we have here just a pretty decent page. Okay. No styling at all. But we're going to apply our colors to it next. And then we're going to start changing colors. And you'll see exactly how the color palette in Kadence works. Okay, so now that we have our page all set up, the next thing that we need to do now is we need to assign the default colors that we have, right? So remember the default colors, you can see them here in the customizer. If you go to customize, general, and colors, this is the global palette. Okay, so these are the default. So now when we start attaching parts of our page here to these different colors, you can kind of see they've done some of that here already. Then we now have the ability to make global changes that basically change the entire color of the page and subsequently the website as well. So let's go ahead and do that now. So you're going to go to edit page. And we're going to go literally through each row layout here. Okay, so I've got 4 row layouts, main ones. And then we have blocks inside of each one. So let's start with the first one. Okay, so if you look at this row layout, if we open this up, we have a row layout, there, and then we have sections in here. So the goal here is anything that needs to be a background will get a background color, and anything that is text will get a text color, and then anything we want to highlight will get an accent color. So we're going to start with the background. The outermost background that we have here is this row right here. Okay, so starting here, I'm going to go to background settings for that row, and we're going to select a background color. And this already has a color assigned to it, so this is actually correct. So we want this white color assigned there, and that's perfect because this is a background color. So we have one of these 3 choices. In this case, we're going to go with the white color there. Now let's deal with the internal elements that require color. So the next element that require a color is this heading. So if I click on the heading here, then I can assign a color to this heading, right? So this is our strongest text color, which is what we want. So we want that to be assigned there, all right? And then our text color is also going to have a assigned color as well. So when we select this, we want it to have our text color, the medium strong text. All right, and then our button, okay? So this button right here, when you initially create a button, if you come over here, it's actually set to default styles, so it looks like this. I'm just going to click on the theme styles, which will automatically assign it the colors of the theme, the highlight color and the accent color and the accent color too. So if you select that, that's what will happen. But just so that we can get a better understanding of the colors, let's keep it at default and we'll do the assignment ourselves. So when we scroll down here, we're going to say that our text color is going to be white. Our background color is going to be this accent color here, blue. Our border color is also going to match our background color. Then on the hover, we want the text color, the hover text color again to be white. We want the background color to now be the accent, the second alternative accent color. And we want the hover border color to be the second accent color as well. Okay. And now this is all set. All right. Now, one thing I do want to do is I want to increase the size of this heading. Just for effect. So I'm going to come here, select the heading, click on this, the typography icon here, typography settings, and we're going to increase this to 55 pixels, and we'll keep the line height at 60 pixels. And then we're going to create a highlight here. So I'm going to click on how to use the Kadence. Or actually, how about we do how to use, click on highlight. And then we also will highlight color palette. Click on highlight. So now it's giving us this default orange color. We don't want that. So we're going to come here to the highlight settings and we're going to change that and assign it to one of our global colors. And we're going to assign it to one of our highlights. So the accent color here. Okay. All right, great. So now the website, this part is pretty much done. Now we're going to move on to the second row. So on this row, I want to create a contrast between the top row and this second row here. So let's go ahead and increase the padding a little bit. So I'm just going to drag this to be about 155 pixels. So it's an even amount away from the top one. Awesome. And now we're going to do the same thing. Now we're going to assign a background here. So I'm going to select the row. I'm going to go to background settings. I'm going to click on background color and I have a choice of one of these 3. I don't want it to be the white, so I'm going to select the next lighter background, okay? So now I've selected that. And then for these items in the middle here, I also want these to be tied to our color scheme and also this heading as well, and so as well as the text. So I'm going to click on the heading and this already is carrying our strong text heading, which is great. And then on the text itself, this text is not carrying any of our stuff, so we're going to go ahead and assign the medium text color to that. And then with each of these info boxes, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to select one info box. I'm going to come over here to the container settings, and under the container settings, the container background, I'm going to add a 0 to the opacity so that it's completely transparent. And then the container border will have the same thing. I want it to be transparent. Okay, great. And then next we're gonna attach some colors to the actual elements within the info box. So the media settings here, which is the icon, I want this icon to be a highlighted color like that. And the title and text color will be a strong text. The text settings here, the color will be our middle text here. All right, and then let's take care of the hover for the icon as well. So we'll just keep all this the same. All right, great. So now that we have that, we're gonna just copy this across to all the other ones. See if we can copy the styles across. So I'm gonna click on copy styles, select the next one, paste styles, and paste styles. And then we need to make these backgrounds transparent as well. And the reason we're doing that is so we can see the background behind it. Okay, and this is now completed. So this is all attached. And then right here, we're gonna do the same thing here. So we know that our background is going to be the white color. The text here is going to be our strong text, which it already is. The content text here is going to be our middle text right there. And this right here, the button, we're going to take that off the theme, make it default. Text color will be white. Background color is going to be our highlight color of blue. And the border color will follow. And then do the same thing for the hover. Background color will be the accent color too. And let's make sure that our text color is also linked here. Okay. Excellent. And then here, this is from the design library. So it's got all kinds of colors already built in. We're going to basically attach this to our own color. So I'm going to select the outside row here. I'm going to go to background settings, and we're going to link that to our subtle background here. The frequently asked questions, that's already linked. The accordion, the pane title colors. So we want that to also be a highlighted color. So we're going to select the active one first and take care of that first. So the text will be white. The active background is going to be our highlight color. The border will be our highlight color. Looks great. All right, and then the normal color here, we will attach our colors to that. The title background. There. Sorry, the title color should be actually white. There we go. And then title border color will be that color. Okay, and let's just do the same thing for this one, and then we're ready. Okay. All right, so now we've styled our frequently asked questions to match all our colors. I just want to make sure that the inner content settings also match up. So all this looks right here. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and update. And now we can start applying our color palette. So now that we go to the front end of the page, everything is now tied in. All right. So let's go ahead and start changing stuff and see what happens. So if you click on the customize button here and we go to general colors, now we can start changing colors. So let's just select from the default color sets that come in Kadence. So let's just select this one and see what that looks like. So you kind of see here by selecting here, the colors are all changing and everything is actually linked very well. So now you can see how you can have these really nice color changes, right? So let's see, let's test out a few more. Let's test out this one. So this is a dark color. This is a dark mode, right? And that looks really good. Here's another color. So you can kind of see how by tying everything to the correct place, your website is going to look great and all the colors are going to change accordingly. Now, what if I have my own color palette? Okay, what if I want to have my own color palette? I don't want to use the one that is here. Okay, so the way to do that is, let's say we take over color palette 3, which is just the default colors, and we're going to change all these colors to our own. But first we have to go somewhere and create our own colors. Okay, so the place that you go to do that is if you go to colors, which is spelled COOLORS.co. This is what's called a color palette generator. So when you come here, just click on start the generator. And once you start it, you're presented with these 5 initial colors. You can change the colors by pressing the space bar, and the colors will update. And sometimes by doing that, you'll actually get a pretty cool set. All right, so what I'm looking for when I do this, if I'm doing this randomly, I'm looking for a good color to start with. All right, but if I don't find the color, then I will just go ahead and start making up my own. So you can actually change your own colors right here. Just select the hex code here, and if you click the picker, it'll allow you to change the colors. Okay, so it's a completely free site to be able to do that. So let's say I want to do more of a reddish color like that. So I really like this color. So when I select it, then I'm going to go ahead and lock it. When you lock it and you hit the spacebar key, all these other colors will change. But I don't want to do that right now because I see another color that I like, which is this one right here. So I'm going to lock that as well. This looks like it'll be a pretty nice background color. Another thing that you'll notice is you only have 5 slots here, whereas in the color palette, there are 9. So we can actually add more colors. And the way you do that is if you find a color you like this red, if you hover in between it and you click the plus sign, it'll give you a complementary color right after it. So you see that right there? And just kind of gives you a complementary color. So, but I don't like this color, right? So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can create my own color. So that's what this is about. So I go to the picker, and I want like a lighter color like that, something like this. So this looks good. And then I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now I need some strong colors. Okay, so remember there are 9, and right now we're at 6. So I'm going to hit the plus sign here. And I want a strong color here. So probably what we'll do here for a strong color is just a little darker with a red, hint of red in it. Okay, and that looks good. That looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to add another plus sign there. And so I'm going to go ahead and change this color to something a little bit lighter. I'm going to start, of course, with my red here, but I want it dark and just subtly lighter, kind of like that. All right, great. And then let's do one more. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 colors. Great. So let's do one more dark color. So I'm come here, go to the red, and I want it slightly lighter. Kind of like that. You kind of get the idea, okay? So, oops, it looks like I deleted it. Let's do that again. Slightly darker. Okay. So now we have some colors going. Next is going to be, we need one more dark color. So I'm going to click here. And this time it gave me the color to the right. So we need a slightly lighter one there. Okay, that looks good. Then here, now we have more than the 9 that we wanted. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag this over. And I'm going to delete one of these. Okay, so now we get to do our background colors. Okay, so this looks like a nice white, so I'm going to pull this all the way to the end, and I want to keep that one. But these two, I would like these to be a little bit more beige. So we're going to click on this here, and we're going to select a light, just a light beige color, kind of like that. All right, and then let's do one more. That's going to be a little bit even lighter. Okay. How about just like that? All right. And this seems lighter than that. So let's just move this around. Okay, now this is our color palette. We've created a color palette that we're going to use. So now all that's left to do is to plug in these colors into our color palette. So I'm going to go back to my site, and I'm on palette number 3. And we come here. I'm just going to grab this color. Actually change this to hex so I can actually see the hex code. We grab that. Back to your site. All right, let me go back again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all these colors. You kind of get the idea, and I will speed this up so that I don't waste any of your time. All right, there we go. So as you can see, as we plugged in our colors, the website actually started taking shape, right? It started changing its own color. So here's our original palette right here. And now we've added our own custom colors to it. And you can see the website has adapted to those colors. Let's go ahead and publish this. All right, so now you can understand how to use the color palette. So you recognize that anywhere you add the backgrounds, anywhere that you add the highlight colors, those will adjust accordingly and the website will look great. You can also utilize this to create a dark mode. You can use it with the Kadence starter templates, creating your own. And if you ever want to add more colors, just remember within Kadence blocks, within this setting here, you can add additional colors to your site and tie them all in. And so with that, I hope that that made sense. With that, I'm going to end it here. Hey, if you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and remember to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified anytime I release videos like this. I love making Kadence videos, and I explore every feature that they have and make details videos on them. So if you want to be notified when I make those videos, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit a like or hit the like button so that we can get this video out to more people. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I do read the comments and I do respond to them, and I enjoy getting comments. If you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.